Hi, Christine. What's up?
Hi.
This place called Ja-tek, the startup. What is it? What is its main purpose?
Jatek is a startup founded by a bunch of authors and CEOs, and all from like Yale and Harvard Law School. So they basically created this with the purpose of supporting youth voices and encouraging students, particularly those of like Asian descent in like the Asian community, to speak out and like really kind of dig deep and think about expressing yourself. So I guess the biggest thing is self-expression. Ja-tek, that Ja is actually the Chinese character Zi, which means self. So our kind of slogan, I guess, is express yourself. And we try to promote this in multiple ways. Right now, what we're working on a lot is like public speaking. So we offer a lot of public speaking workshops. And through that, we want to help students not only just become better speakers, but to learn to kind of think more introspectively and really express, what is it about me that I want to share with others. So that's like the big goal that we're trying to get across.
So, how did you personally get involved with Ja-tek itself?
So I was actually a student at one of Jatek's public speaking workshops.
Mhm.
They were holding a pilot workshop at a community center near me.
Mhm.
So I decided to enroll. And honestly, I wasn't really expecting much of it,
Mhm.
but the experience turned out to be a lot more insightful than I thought. I had done a lot of public speaking before in terms of contests. So
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if I really needed this, but I liked how Jatek really incorporated in talking about not just like the technical portion where I need to raise my chin and like make eye contact, but rather thinking about the message and the content and really encouraging me to think about myself. So once I was finished with the course, Mr. Kane, or Kenneth Kane, he's the founder of Jatek, and he taught that workshop, reached out to me and he asked me if I wanted to be a TA for their next workshop series, which was also on public speaking. And from there, I gradually got more and more involved. So in college, I began to work as like an intern, and now I'm working full time at Jatek, pretty much helping with every aspect of the workshops and contests and outreach they do.
What sort of things do you think you've learned by working with Ja-tek, and what do you think you've taken away from working there?
I definitely learned a lot just like work experience wise. I've learned a lot about communication and working with people who are in higher level. I've never worked in a startup before, so this has been a really great experience for me working with Jatek. I've met a lot of really cool people through Jatek's network, and I think the one lesson I've taken away is kind of just how human everyone is. That sounds very obvious, but the fact that Jatek, their board of mentors they're very all esteemed, they're very well accomplished, and I am big fans of all of them. But the ones that I've met and I've had conversations with them, I've just sat down and talked and shared my story and listened to theirs as well. And despite the age gap, I'm a college student, and they've had decades of more experience than me. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's really no different. We're really not that different, and that's something that's helped me a lot with working. I feel very comfortable around other people because of that, and I think like Patrick's emphasis on kind of the story and self-expression has helped me discover that a little bit better.
Mhm.
And it's just good work experience, and I've learned a lot about public speaking because we're always doing these workshops, and I'm learning about it.
I know that you guys are hosting a speech competition at the moment. Do you think
Yeah.
you could go a little bit into detail about the contest itself?
Yeah, so we are holding a public speaking contest for students in the New York area for both rising high schoolers and graduating high schoolers. And we're really focusing on self-expression again to, be consistent with our mission, but also exercising your creativity. We don't want this to be kind of like you just go up there and spit out like a 5 paragraph essay. We
Mhm.
want this to be more introspective and digging deep, but something bigger than yourself, a message that can be applied anywhere. So the theme of this contest is tell me your story, and it has to pertain to current events. So by current events, I mean really anything that's happened in the last month or few years, right? We're going through a global pandemic. The economy is declining. There's unemployment is huge. Seniors have their graduation canceled. Like there's all these things happening, and we want to hear people's personal experiences of them. And the second part of this contest that sets it apart from others is that we're allowing like multimedia elements.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a little confusing at first, but basically, if you think about like your typical debate or typical like 5 paragraph essay you write for school, you're always bringing in like external quotes, right? You're quoting other authors, research papers, right, etc. But that form of argument is pretty outdated actually. It originates back to like 1930s, back then. And we're now in like a digital century. The 21st century is very much digital, and it's going to go more, everything is going to be more and more online as we go. So we want to incorporate that multimedia element of the 21st century into storytelling, into public speaking, by allowing students to use external video, instead of like quotes from other people into their speech. So that's something we're trying to basically pioneer into public speaking in a digital world.
As someone who is so invested and active in Jatek and their purpose, why do you think it's important for teens to sort of speak out and show their voices?
Oh yes, that's definitely a good question. So I think a lot of people, including me, throughout high school, just feel like their opinions are not that they don't matter, but that they're not important enough that you have to go in front of an audience and talk about it, right? Um, and I'd like to break that kind of way of thinking that a lot of people have. A lot of people think, there's just too many barriers to go up there and say something about yourself, because a lot of people think your personal story is not significant enough, or maybe not interesting enough, or maybe you're just scared of public speaking and there's all these barriers in the way. So a lot of people might think like, why should I bother to try going off through that effort just to share something about myself? Like, I don't think people are interested in that. And I'd like to disagree with that. I think what's most interesting about people are their stories. I think everyone has a story to tell, no matter how insignificant you think it is. I think every single person has gone through something. Not everyone has had. You always have something you can teach other people, and it might be something that's so obvious to you, but it's not. It's not always so obvious to everyone else. And so I really want students to. I want to challenge students to brainstorm and reflect and think about, what can I share with other people,
Mm-hmm.
and use kind of Jatek as a platform to really express that. And if public speaking is what gets in the way of them sharing, Jatek we are here so that we can help with that. That's why we have these public speaking workshops. And we're offering even one for free with this contest, so that students who never had experience can get better and just practice. And, especially since this is a digital contest, it's a lot easier to talk in front of your computer than in front of hundreds of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just one step at a time. And, Jatek, we really want to guide you through every step of that. So I think we really encourage students to think about and share something, and take the step of courage to speak out and share.
Thank you so much for this empowering message. I understand that Jatek's purpose is actually pretty similar to the Incandescent, which is illuminating youth voices. So if some of our readers wanted to become more involved in Jatek other than just participating in the speech contest, how would you recommend that they reach out or try to get more involved?
Aside from this contest, which we're going to span, this is a contest we're hoping to do again. Students could definitely, follow us on Instagram for more updates. There's that thing always, but we're always going to be putting out workshops and contests and trying to expand. So students who are interested in getting involved should definitely stay updated with us and in contact with us by checking out our Instagram and following along with that, where we'll be posting updates on any contests or workshops we have. And those interested students should, look out for that and definitely register when we give those opportunities, as well as participate in this contest.
I understand that Jatek does hold a few workshops talking about college admissions. So my final question, I guess, is, as someone who's involved in Jatek as well as a student at Brown, do you have any advice for any of the people going through the college admissions process right now or in the future? during this very tumultuous time?
First step, reflect. Reflect, think about what you want, and then do it. So think about what you want and go with what you want to do, which sounds really easy, but a lot of times it's not, right? Like I applied as an anthropology major. I'm currently a potential East Asian Studies concentrator, which might change, but that's what I wanted to do. It's definitely not a popular choice, right? Like this is just an example, but
Mm-hmm.
going as like a STEM major is very much more appealing to like parents, especially because I am from an Asian family. My parents weren't pressuring, thankfully, but there was always that pressure on the back of my mind, that expectation. That's just like, for example. But disregard that. I mean, definitely respect it. But at the end of the day, I think you're your own person and you really want to reflect and think about what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your life.
Mm-hmm.
And, college is a big next step. So, it's the next 4 years of your life. It's very transformative. So I think really take time to really just reflect, who you are, what's important to you, and then how you're going to achieve that. How are you going to fulfill what is important to you, and how are you going to make yourself proud, not just other people. And I'd say go with it. Go with what you really think you should do.
Thank you for all the insight that you've provided us. Do you have any final remarks you'd like to add?
I just say, like, don't be afraid to try something new. Yeah, I think that's something I really want to encourage high school students, especially those that are like shy or scared, or think like, oh, this isn't for me. Don't like don't like set up too many boundaries like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just try it. You never know. Yeah, I think that's like the last piece of advice I want to offer.